Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Greg Olmo with Key Performance Ideas, and I would like to welcome you to our webinar, Getting Your Budget Adopted with Oracle Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service. Today's webinar will be presented by John Regula. John has 18 years of hands-on experience implementing Hyperion planning. With a solid financial background in public accounting and other financial leadership roles, John brings an unmatched combination of extensive product knowledge and experience to manage any size implementation from start to finish. He has served organizations in the public sector, healthcare, utilities, and commercial industries, and he is Oracle PBCS and a Hyperion Planning certified. Thanks for presenting today, John.
Thank you, Greg, and welcome everyone today. Today's webinar topics are some of the key events in your budget process. As we cover today's topics and functionality, I want you to try to keep in mind the extensive levels of communication that take place during the complete budget process. On the screen, you see just a sampling of some of the key events that may take place in your budget process from beginning to end. The calendar of the budget instructions, department, community, anticipated goals, budget requests, working on the current year budget updates, and doing the next year's forecast, review and approval of department budgets, preparing a trial budget and preliminary capital improvement programs, working through a proposed budget and review, and finally getting it adopted, getting that budget adopted. I'd like to set the stage for today, though, in regards to what we're going to sort of present from both a functional perspective and an application perspective. Today we're going to cover the Oracle Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service functionality to help you accomplish those key events noted previously efficiently and effectively. It's also understood that your processes may differ. So what we will show can be incorporated into your budget process to manage your specific processes. Today, the budget process can include anything from the instructions to adoption, also adjustments, amendments, and oversight during the budget year. There are two Oracle products that we can utilize to meet your budget needs, budget process needs. Enterprise Planning Budgeting Cloud Service includes out-of-box functionality for financials, workforce, capital, and projects. We also have the Planning Budgeting Cloud Service, which is a basic single application product. So what I want to do is, on the next two slides, I want to highlight some of the key milestones during the budget process, which includes meetings, deliverables that require continuous collaboration, important collaboration. Additionally, these meetings, by the nature of the city, county, or state, may be ad hoc and emergency at times. So from the beginning of the process, you present the process to the city council. You prepare budget and payroll assumptions for departments. You hold numerous department budget meetings between the budget team, the department heads, the community, council, mayor, city manager. You go through the process of reviewing where the current year's budget's at, get involved with the one-year forecast, or even work on a strategic plan. Present council with general fund trial balances and capital improvements programs, budgets. Conduct community budget hearings. Continue on with city council, city manager review of the fund trial balance and the capital improvements program. Then the budget management team needs to prepare a proposed budget. Working with the department heads, presents budgets to the Chamber of Commerce, go through public hearings, and get to an adopted budget. To ensure a successful budget, you need the key role players to continuously communicate do that, they need to collaborate and share accurate budget data and information easily. So at the heart of the process, you definitely need a tool to help you do all the above easily. You need one version of the truth that is shared on a continual basis, and you can't do that with disconnected Excel spreadsheets on servers and laptops. Set the stage for who the key role players are. The mayor, city council, city manager, city departments, fire, police, parks, etc., and the budget management team responsible for putting that budget together. Next, I'd like to match up those key role players with the planning, budgeting, cloud service roles in the solution. This is all managed with security and functionality in the product to make sure that these roles for view and report users, department planners, and planning administrators can work effectively. Planners enter all the data, create reports, and analyze data. The administrators control the process, maintain the system, have access to all data, and then, of course, produce the output for view and report users. They can view reports, they can't change data, and they have access to data that's controlled and to only what data they need to see. So remember back a few slides, I mentioned one of the key success factors is ease of use, okay? We want the tools you use to be simple to get you through the process efficiently. These are the ease of use tools in the planning, budgeting, cloud service. Only a few, simple to use. Of course, not everyone will need access to all these tools. Access to the tools controlled so that each user only needs access to the tools they need. For example, a view and report user may only need access to reports and dashboards or even task lists to make their job even easier. As we continue today, I will show you how these tools can be used to easily access the accurate data based on the specific roles. The task lists will help you easily guide users through step-by-step to develop the budget process. Forms are simple ways for planners to enter data and analyze the data on either the web or in Excel. Reports and dashboards are the ways to get the data out to the users and decision makers. Business rules, calculate, and we consolidate the data. Workflow is a formal review and approval process. Data management integrates between your general ledger and your HR systems. The solution needs to be simple, effective, and accurate. Oracle Planning, Budgeting, Cloud Service application has a simple user interface for all users. It's going to promote a very efficient process for you to collaborate and communicate through all those meetings, budget hearings, finance meetings, through the process. This is one place for all users to share all budget information. No need for anyone to wait for someone to go get an Excel spreadsheet that's disconnected on someone else's server. It's all in one location. Few basic tools, and they're easy to learn and easy to use. Here, as I mentioned, very simple access through icons for any user to get to tasks, dashboards, data forms, reports, approvals, tools, and an academy for even users to go ahead and look up instructions or user manual information on how to get things done. Again, trying to emphasize how simple the interface is. When you look at the application and have access over the budget process, you can get a snapshot of all the actions that need to be done. Look at how many tasks you have to do. Are they data entry that you have to work on? Are there business rules that you need to execute? Or is there something you need to approve? Again, Simple application components. You have an operating budget, consolidates all the data from capital and personal. You have a capital component for capital improvements, and personnel to plan all your personnel, costs, and workforce expenses. The budget reporting is one source, one database where all the information is stored and accessed for all users transparently. Basic budget data elements you need to get your budget done. Simple, few, but all accessible and easily maintained in the PBCS system. Accounts, manage for your revenue and expense. Fund balance. Entity, cover your departments. Funds, covering general, special revenue, enterprise. Positions, all your personnel costs, workforce. Projects, capital improvement programs. Multiple scenarios, budget, forecast, versions, proposed, adopted, and others. All the information you need for the budget. From a task perspective, I mentioned earlier that it needs to be a simple process and a process that individuals can easily move through. Tasks, as I mentioned earlier, is one of the keys. The tasks help users identify what they need to get done. Today, these are my tasks that I have to work on. These tasks could be either mine, or if I was a manager, I would be able to see access. I would have access to other individuals' tasks. So I mentioned easy to gain access to all your tasks or data, reports, or whatever you need to. Here, I'm able to view all of my tasks at one time. What's nice about the task list, okay, is that at any point in time, I can select tasks from a selection of other groups of tasks that I've had developed for me over the budget process. This shows the tasks by month during the budget cycle. I can look at my tasks from August through June. I can select to view only the tasks from one of my task lists. For example, tasks for August. In addition to that, I can also look at these from a tree view to give me a better sense of all the other tasks I have. Here in a tree view, I can see the August tasks, could expand on October's tasks, go to November's tasks, but easily look at start and end dates for my tasks, the status of my tasks, easily. From a management perspective, I have the ability to oversee or look at, in general, all the tasks that are occurring and need to be worked on. The importance here is to identify the status as to how soon and the volume of what is coming up in the schedule, whether it's today, this week, or the future. Additionally, not only importance is when they're scheduled, but what are they? These identify the type of tasks that need to be accomplished. Here's showing me I have 20% of forms to be done and 80% descriptive. There could be other forms as rules and workflow that would be included and analyzed. The importance here is to identify those tasks that will require effort and take time. So if this was flipped and I had 80% forms, it would mean that I'd have someone has quite a bit of work to do yet. So one of the things that is very helpful from tasks is the ability to move you easily through what you have to get done. There's easy access, no guessing on where to go. Not only could I have looked at the tasks, but by selecting a specific task, for example, payroll assumptions, it easily opens my form. I have access to the form, can make my changes. By selecting the task from the task list, it took me right to what I need to work on. Don't need to go anywhere else. This form shows that I have to enter, but other columns could also be added for this form. We could have added prior year, budget, actual, and also current year target budgeting assumptions. It's just a sample to show how quickly, from a task perspective, we can get to what we have to get done. After you've worked on your specific tasks, as I mentioned, again, keeping it simple access for users to get to what they got to do. From this point, we could actually just select the data forms. Keeping in mind, making sure that the solution is simple and easy to use and get through. We also want nothing to be confusing for the user and have a simple form structure for users to get to what they need to work on quickly. The form folder structure that we showed on the previous slide was a bit limited, but you're going to see here that the folder structure can be accommodated for multiple different users with different access. The folder structure is controlled based on access permissions, so we can control the different access for different users. The folder forms could be structured differently to meet your specific function or budget process. Here we created a folder structure to support the components of our budget: appropriations, budget assumptions, budget reviews. You may need to form a different structure, possibly based on your fund structure, potentially governmental, proprietary, or fiduciary type efforts. We talked about the forms being easy to use. Here's a form for entering FY 2018 budget appropriations. We can look at the appropriations revised and the appropriations that are recommended. I can enter and make changes by year, quarter, month, by appropriation, by fund, while I can also see the adopted budget appropriations from the prior year. Again, making the solution easy for users and planners to plan, budget, and forecast their data and report and analyze it. Again, we could also save this form in a read-only form, so it could be shared with budget management team or other attending or others when you're attending formal board meetings, commission hearings, or council study sessions. This is a form that simply provides the ability for target budgets to be entered in for a specific budget year. Also, we can see here the prior year information. We can also enter total information amounts by line item. But the target here gives us the ability to enter data at a higher level with some general target amounts to be used. The previous form showed us just the police department expense by itself. If we have the appropriate access, individuals can also access, for example here, all the police departments within Fund 11. This form, to make it easy, from a seating perspective, you can easily take the prior budget and copy it into the proposed budget for FY18. There are multiple ways to just get this done. One, as you see in this form, just copy the data from prior budget or forecast. Or 2, create business rules to see the current proposed budget with the prior budget or forecast. 3rd, another business rule, we could create business rules to apply some adjustment percentage of growth. This form shows sort of the 4th option, which is supporting zero-based budget entry of the data. This form happens to be showing the actual FY17 and the forecast FY18. But these columns could be configured for FY18 budget proposed in the yellow. And then once we've entered all that detailed data, you save the button, and the data is saved to the database. Again, saved to the database and ready and available for other users. This form basically shows the zero-based budgeting amounts. You can enter the data for the whole year, and it'll spread to all the quarters and the months. You could also go into the quarters and months and then change the individual amounts again before saving. Think of using these forms as you attend various meetings with city council, city managers, department managers, and department planners. So once you've made these changes also, the data is saved to the database. Again, no spreadsheets, and no looking for spreadsheets in different servers or individuals' laptops. As I mentioned earlier, we could create a read-only form. This is an example that you can see immediately after any department would enter data. A planner enters those changes into the system. The data is saved to the database and available for read-only and report viewers, the mayor, city council, etc. So you can collaborate and communicate live instead of making changes in Excel spreadsheets, saving data, consolidating it, and having decision makers and viewers wait for information. To make it even easier, provide some consistency for users and their familiarity with Excel, you can access all the forms, tasks, reports, and SmartView. All the same form functionality connected directly to the database, one version of the truth, but again, in a familiar application, Excel, but still directly connected to the database. Again, it's access to all the forms, no more looking for the right spreadsheet. Is it current? Has it been calculated, consolidated? In here, we could also make some very simple changes, just like we did on the web. Okay, we can enter a new year total, submit the data to the database, and again, the data is ready for reporting for all users to access. As I mentioned, it's important that you utilize these tools as you have to attend various meetings so that there's no need for taking notes and going back to the planning tool and making changes. This form, again, shows where we could enter the budget targets and then also begin to put in the actual proposed budget amounts. In addition to not only the budgeted revenues, expenditures, you have the ability to track any of your performance measures. These performance measures are important and generally are tracked and reported on in your budget book. Easy access to the forms. The Excel SmartView provides a very simple way for users to, while working in Excel, open up a worksheet and select forms that they need to work on. As you can see here, we get back to the budget, the salary and benefit assumptions for the budget. budget assumptions. Easily here, the yellow fields are all fields that can be changed. And again, save the data, it'll be loaded to the database immediately. But easy access with SmartView and Excel. Here, we can track all the general fund revenues. Again, we could be looking at entering proposed budget data for FY18, looking at FY17's budget adopted. We can look at it across all of the types of revenues. Revenues here are for the general fund, by taxes, intergovernmental, use of money, miscellaneous, and all these can be, as you see, the taxes are actually expanded on so we can see the detail, or it would be accumulated and consolidated. Police department, when we mentioned earlier that we have the ability to enter targets, so maybe the budget management team working with City Council comes up with specific targets. We enter those targets in, but there's no access to that for the police department. So they're restricted from looking at any or changing anything in the targets. As I mentioned earlier, also you need to be able to go ahead and look at the current year's budget and see how you're performing, and also be able to start looking at an FY18 forecast. Here, for example, we have the actuals from FY17. These could have been for 3 quarters, 2 quarters, or whatever, but we're able to see where that budget is going for 17 based on actuals, and also could be entering data and putting in information for the forecast. Capital improvements. Looking at capital improvement revenues and expenditures. We look at these by fund, and easily, this is simple. This is a composite form, similar to the forms that we looked at before, but here giving us the ability to have 2 different views of the data. We could expand on the columns for the proposed budget FY18 and enter data for those funds, both revenue and expenses here. Final is the output, the financial reporting for the view users and report access individuals. Again, talking about being very simple for an easy tool for users to get into and get to the information they need to. The reporting functions have a significant amount of flexibility. There are 3 options to look at a report. Either in HTML on the web, generate PDF for books, or look at the report in an Excel format, formatted for reporting. PDF, basically the PDF view, you select the buttons to the right for PDF view, providing you a report to be either printed or put in a book. Other functionality key to the process is the ability to create the budget book. Consolidate reports, put them in budget books for publication. Not only could we look at it from a PDF, PDF would be fine for storing and keeping the paper copies or keeping that data stored in the system as it was. The other is financial reporting access using HTML. The HTML view gives us the ability to change points of view, page, column, and row information. Significant more ability to analyze the data or to look at different types of report views. Also, from the HTML reporting access for the viewers, for the view users, you could also export this data to a query mode in Excel using SmartView. So once you've selected the export in query mode, you move right into Excel, and you have a financial report, Excel, and SmartView. This is a query mode providing you the functionality to drill and expand and pivot, generally to look at and analyze data further. The page provides us drop-downs for the general fund departments, the general fund operating budget, and positions if we were in the workforce. But from here, not only can we just see the data presented, we could also have the ability to drill further, as I mentioned, on various rows or columns in the report. Easily drill down on the taxes account and see the detail. Additional functionality that could be added here is drill through from these line items into further detail from the general ledger. Also, we could just print these in Excel, which are in format, more of a reporting format. Select the XLS option from the reports menu, and I have a printable format in Excel. This is not drillable, but at least could be consolidated on different sheets for formal reporting. But significant flexibility in providing reports to the users to be used during meetings, hearings, and just collaboration to make changes to budget. One of the major components of the budget, as I mentioned earlier, is being able to budget your workforce. It's a major component of the budget process. Probably generally the most complex and time-consuming because of the number of resources cities, states, counties have in regards to headcount. Collaboration between the HR, the budgeting departments, and the budget management team is key. You need the right solution to provide the accurate information for a significant dollar amount in your budget. You need a system that's integrated with the budget system. So the tool provides and has provided success for other companies. We've seen this with some cases in point here where certain organizations have had challenges in budgeting their workforce. They need to get to employee-level data and statistical accounts. Here, we need to have a single application that provides you the functionality to get that workforce planning done efficiently, effectively, and on time. PBCS provides you different analysis of scenarios from actual, plan, budget, and forecast with data at all levels of the business, down to fund, down to department. The workforce planning, being such a large expense, needs to be analyzed by headcount, salaries, benefits, other compensation. The tool helps you accomplish that. You need to be able to plan for those changes. So during the year, when those changes occur or they are made known, it's easy enough to go into the workforce planning application, make your changes, see the results. You can use global factors to facilitate large computations of planning metrics, as well as salaries, raises, and bonuses. It's not only meant for small organizations. This workforce planning can be used for major organizations. We've seen this happen and used it for large companies employing from 10 to 50,000 employees. It's built to accommodate the growth, geographic, all the reporting and the templates need to be owned and operated by the finance team. Major benefits achieved from implementing the workforce planning. Role-based web and Microsoft Office SmartView interfaces that I've showed, from forms to reports to tasks. All those same tools are available from a workforce planning perspective. And additionally, the reports, as I mentioned, they're all available. We're talking a single version of the truth, a database that holds all the information going forward. A cloud-based solution, you have an application without a capital investment, limited maintenance time, administrative requirements, no need to increase resources or personnel. Additionally, your lead time can be reduced. No more waiting for hardware to be purchased, spec'd, and installed. Once the service is up and running, you purchase the service and you're available to begin development. So one of the things we've talked about in the agenda was that to discuss the key benefits you'll experience through the implementation of Planning, Budgeting Cloud Service or the Enterprise Planning, Budgeting Cloud Service. Okay, and some of these are very critical, I think, to your budget process. You have the deep dive analytics from all scenarios to drill into, from SmartView or utilize reports to drill into. You know, the immediate access to consolidated data as changes made. I showed you how forms, individuals enter data, data is calculated, report users can view and collaborate immediately. There's no more waiting for someone to export and import the data into a worksheet or consolidate worksheets or to move them from presentations to presentations or Word documents. All the information that we've talked about, not only from a SmartView perspective, is available in Excel, it can be live in PowerPoint presentations or in Word documents. So generate books and reports that are live with the data in the database. You have a shared user access. There's no more waiting to pass reports and worksheets around. Collaborate. Call someone, go into a meeting, bring up reports to look at or forms to look at, so users can simultaneously access all the data they need to. Collaborate on explanations and decisions in real time. Task list, repeating it again. It helps organize and schedule and monitor everything you need to do from the beginning of the budget process to the end by tracking due dates and using alerts, emails, and also workflow. A formal workflow process where scheduled events need to happen on certain dates are tracked and monitored. And not only that, you're tracking and monitor, but also you have the ability in workflow to reject or promote the budgets that you prepared. Budget forecast and accuracy. You're going to improve the forecast accuracy by gaining visibility into these various scenarios. By just having the ability to get into the detail quicker and analyze it and make decisions. Easily drill down, expand rows and columns, pivot dimensions between rows and columns, or even drill through to further detail in the general ledger system. I've mentioned the ability with reports and the flexibility. One version of the truth, one source of data, reduce the time spent on creating reports and budget books or reports and management reports on a monthly basis that are generally created back from scratch, and they're disconnected. Here, we use reports that are connected to the database. We use substitution variables that change from period to period. Reports and books don't have to be recreated every month. Basically, every month when new data is loaded into the system or planners enter new data, the same report formats are generated with the new data. It's live and connected to the database. So you simply have to open the reports. Or SmartView ad hoc, refresh, the data is current for you. I want to recap today real simply. Mention there's key role players. They need to collaborate and communicate. You need to do it easily and quickly. You need to address all the budget components. Make sure the application brings in everything you need in regards to developing the budget. From the formulation, adoption, implementation, adjustment, and oversight, completely through the process. A solution and a tool to support that budget process, planning, budgeting, cloud service, or the enterprise planning, budgeting, cloud service. Eliminate the spreadsheets. No more disconnected spreadsheets. Ease of access for all users. It's a cost-effective system. Eliminate the hardware. No more worrying about downtimes for your hardware or having to upgrade hardware and the costs related. You want a simple system implementation. The cloud now, no waiting for hardware. Thank you, everyone. I hope the content today will help you make some decisions about your budget process going forward. And that concludes my presentation for today.
Thank you, John. And thank you all for joining today for our webinar, Getting Your Budget Adopted with Oracle Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. John's and my contact information are on display on your screen. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great afternoon.